What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Clutch Talk. Episode 20 today. Super excited. Another ranking video today. Today is going to be the top 10 running backs in college football. You can't really do running back rooms because I think there's only like one or two guys, that get snaps at running back. So I'm only going to do top 10 running backs, like top 10 rooms like I've been doing with defensive line, wide receiver, offensive line, and so forth. And this is my second to last ranking video. The other ranking video I'll do is top 10 quarterbacks. I may do top 10 secondaries. I doubt it. I think it'll just be top 10 quarterbacks. And then next week, I'm going to have a video Monday through Friday of conference previews and playoff predictions, then championship predictions. So we'll get into that next week. But until then, we're going to do our top 10 running backs. If you're new to the channel and like the content, please subscribe. It helps a lot. 90% of my watchers are not subscribed, so please subscribe. We had a really good video with the defensive line video. So good numbers there, so keep it up. And let's get started today. We're going to start from our 10, work our way up. How I rank these is very simple. How many yards did you have last year? What was your yards per carry? Were you productive on your carries? And then how many rushing touchdowns did you have? Did you get in the end zone frequently, right? And to me, transfers don't really matter. I think if you're a good running back, you're a good running back. And, how important are you to your football team as well, I think matters here. Dylan Sampson was extremely important for Tennessee last year, so he was obviously one of the best running backs in college football because of how valuable he was. A guy like Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson, Ohio State, yeah, they mattered, but they weren't the very reason of why they won or lost games because you had the Will Howard, you had the defense and all that stuff. So how much you mean to the football team matters here as well. So that's how I rank those, and let's get started today. At number 10, I got Jonah Coleman out of Washington. One that not many people are talking about. He transferred over with Jed Fish from Arizona to Washington. 1,000-yard rusher, 5.5 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns. I think he's going to be the best player on this offense this year. And, new quarterback in Damon Williams, who's a little bit younger quarterback, more inexperienced. They're going to lean on the run game. And I expect another 1,000-yard year out of him. Washington's going to need the run game to win games this year, whether it's quarterback runs or with Jonah Coleman. So I think he's extremely important to this team. Very productive on his carries. He's gotten better each and every year in Jed Fish's system, so I expect the same this year. And I expect another jump, and so he comes at number 10 to me as the 10th best running back in college football. Number 9, I got my first SEC team. I got Trey Wisner out of Texas. He had 1,000 yards last year, 4.7 yards carry, 5 touchdowns, 311 receiving yards as well, and 44 catches out of the backfield. He was a very good pass catcher out of there as well. The reason I don't have him higher, though, is because C.J. Baxter's come back from injury, and to me, C.J. Baxter's going to steal a couple bit of the snaps and carries because of how talented he is, and you got to put C.J. Baxter on the football field. So Trey Wisner to me can't be higher because of that, but he's the leading SEC returning rusher, preseason All-SEC first team for a reason. Extremely dynamic, very good pass catcher. I think that's one of his most underrated traits and his best trait. So he comes in at number 9 for me out of Texas. Number 8, I got Bryson Washington out of Baylor, a freshman last year. That was extremely good, almost 6 yards a carry on 1,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. He's going to need to have that big of a year this year. Baylor wants to get the playoff, which is kind of the expectation this year for Baylor. Like they could potentially be that fringe Big 12 champion that gets in the playoff this year. And it'll be because of Sawyer Robertson, of course, but also Bryson Washington. He was a freshman last year that put up those kind of numbers. I think he'll take a jump this year. Baylor's offensive line, to me, is the most experienced in the Big 12 and one of the best in the Big 12. So they're going to run behind. He's going to be able to run behind a good offensive line, get good carries. He'll be the only running back really in the backfield. There's not a lot of competition in there. And he's extremely vital to this team. If he has a big year like he did last year, they could very much get to the Big 12 championship game and win it and get in the playoff. That's how valuable he is, and that's how good he is. So he comes at number 8. Number 7, I got the ACC's second best running back, not the best, but second best running back in Desmond Reed out of Pitt. 966 yards last year, 5 yards carry, 5 touchdowns. But what he adds most is his receiving game. Almost 600 receiving yards out of the backfield and 4 touchdowns. They're going to put him all over the football field in different spots. He's the best player in this offense. He was preseason All-American first team. As he was put as an AP just because you can put him everywhere. He's a good kick and punt returner as well. So he comes in number 7. And again, Eli Holstein's really good and all that, but Pat Narduzzi always wants to run the football and be physical at the point of attack, and it starts with Desmond Reed. And again, he's probably their best pass catcher out there as well. So he's their best football player, one of the best backs in college football, probably the most versatile back in college football as well. So he comes in at number 7. Number 6, I got one that might be unpopular to some people. It's Katron Allen out of Pitt. He comes in, or out of Penn State. He comes in at number 6. 1,100 yards, 5 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns last year. A lot of people I look at lists have him higher. The reason I don't is because I think there's a difference between how valuable Nick Singleton is to Penn State and how valuable Kaytron Allen is. I think if Kaytron Allen goes down, I think Penn State's offense is still very dynamic and makes a lot of plays because Nick Singleton is very dynamic and he's a better pass catcher out of the backfield. If Nick Singleton goes down, I think the Penn State offense becomes less versatile and less dynamic because I just don't think Kaytron Allen's one that's going to take you 80 yards to the house, more of that ground and pound back. And so in terms of value, I think Nick Singleton's more valuable, and that's why Kaytron Allen's not higher. But with that being said, he's still a top 6 back in college football, extremely good. He's played a lot of football. Both of them were seniors this year. He's part of the best running back group in college football. But he's the 6th best back, in my opinion, in terms of value and his production in college football. Number 5, I got Ahmad Hardy. He's a transfer from ULM. He's now at Missouri. To me, the best back in the SEC this year. 1,300 yards as a freshman last year. 5.7 yards per carry, 13 touchdowns. He got blown under the radar recruiting. I don't know how bigger schools weren't able to find him on the recruiting trail. And so he ends up going to ULM and blows it up as a freshman. I mean, he was one of the best backs in college football last year as a freshman at ULM. Now he's at Missouri in a system that loves to run the football. They will always have good backs and always be able to run the ball. And now with a new quarterback in Bo Pribula who hasn't played a lot of football, I think they're going to rely a lot on Ahmad Hardy. He's going to get a lot of touches, probably more touches than anybody else in the SEC. And so to me, he's the best running back in the SEC, going to be the breakout star and the best newcomer in the conference this year and a top 5 running back in the country. So he comes in number 5. Number 4, I got Isaac Brown out of Louisville. I talked very highly about him in my Louisville preview. 7 yards a carry as a freshman last year and 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns. And now he's kind of like the only back there. He's kind of by himself in the backfield. And Miller Moss, until they get him used to the system, I think they're going to lean on the run game more. And I think the offensive line's very good for Louisville. I think Louisville's a very deep, complete team, and he's part of that. And again, what he did as a freshman last year is amazing. Imagine what another year in the system as a sophomore can do for him. Jeff Brom's a heck of a play caller, one of the best in the country. He's going to get him a lot of touches early and often and get him a lot of plays to, make plays in open space and be super dynamic. He's extremely fast. He ran for like 8 yards a carry in between the tackles as well. He's not just a bouncer on the outside guy. He can go in between the tackles as well. Extremely dynamic. So he comes in number 4. Number 3, I got another transfer. This one, he came out of Tulane last year. Now he's at Oregon. It's Mekhi Hughes at number 3. You can't argue with 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns on 5 yards a carry. And I think Oregon's going to be a much different team than they have been in years past under Dan Lanning. There's no more Bo Nix, right? There's no more Dylan Gabriel. Now, Dante Moore is a 5-star talent at quarterback. Zero doubt. But I think there's going to be growing pains with him, like kind of how there was when he was at UCLA starting games. There are going to be growing pains there. And I think that's where you got to lean on Mekhi Hughes to make plays running the football. And I think they will. Their offensive line is a top 10 unit, like I said in my offensive line video in college football as well. A lot of new on the offensive line, but extremely talented. And Mekhi Hughes is going to be a bell cow back for them. He's going to get a lot of touches. And I think he's going to have a monster year. I think he's one of the best running backs in the Big Ten. Behind this guy who's at number 2, and it's Nick Singleton out of Penn State. To me, Nick Singleton's so valuable to Penn State in terms of how dynamic they are. And he had a great year his freshman year, down year sophomore year, had a great junior. He picked it back up with 1,000 yards, almost 1,100 yards on 5.8 yards a carry, 12 touchdowns, and 375 receiving yards as well with 5 touchdowns. I think he's going to get a little bit more carries this year and a little bit more productions because I think Andy Kotelnicki, their offensive coordinator, is going to use him a lot more in versatile packages this year. And I expect a big year out of him. He's so valuable to Penn State. And I think with how much Penn State's going to lean on this run game, he's going to be a big part of it. And his experience and his talent. He's a future top second-round pick in the NFL draft. Extremely talented, super agile as well, really good feet. To me, he's the second best running back in college football. I don't think there's much debate about that either. And I also don't think there's much debate with who I think the number 1 running back in college football is. To me, the best running back this season is going to be Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. 1,100 yards, 6.9 yards a carry, 17 touchdowns. And he's going to be leaned on so much until they figure out whether it's C.J. Carr or whoever the other quarterback is. Whoever the new quarterback is, they got to get him used to that system. And until they get him used to the system, they're going to be leaning on Jeremiah Love. And Jeremiah Love's going to get a lot of touches. He's extremely dynamic, good receiver as well, and he can burst for a 50-yard touchdown anytime he touches it. Extremely dynamic. He's the best running back in college football, and he's also the most valuable running back in college football. Without him, Notre Dame is not the same football team. They're not even a top 10 football team, I don't think, without Jeremiah Love. But having him back this year after the national championship game run they made last year, he's so valuable, and to me, he is the best running back in college football and a sleeper for the Heisman. I'm not saying he's going to win the Heisman because I don't think he will. I think it's a quarterback award this year. But he's someone who is so valuable to that team, and if Notre Dame gets a top 4 seed and he has a big year because of it, and he's the reason they're a top 4 seed, it'd be hard to argue him not being a sleeper for the Heisman, if that makes sense. So he comes in as the best running back in college football. So to recap, number 10, I got Jonah Coleman out of Washington. Number 9, I got Trey Wisner out of Texas. Number 8, I got Bryson Washington out of Baylor. Number 7, I got Desmond Reed out of Pitt. Number 6 is Katron Allen out of Penn State. Number 5 is Ahmad Hardy out of Missouri. Number 4 is Isaac Brown out of Louisville. Number 3 is Mekhi Hughes out of Oregon. Number 2 is Nick Singleton. Number 1 is Jeremiah Love. Those are my top 10 running backs. If y'all have any disagreements or other running backs you think should be on here, let me know in the comments. Now, I will say this. I think Jaden Ball will, out of Florida, he will be a top 10 back after the end of the season. But until I see it on the field, I can't put him in the top 10 just because he's still a little bit unproven. But to me, I think Jaden Ball will easily be a top 10 back by the end of the season. I think he's going to have a monster year behind that good offensive line. So he'll be top 10, but I can't put him there right now. So that'll wrap up our video. Again, top 10 quarterbacks is coming soon. I'm sure there'll be a lot of controversy around that because some people think Arch Manning's the best quarterback. I don't really think he is. You got K. Klubnik, Nussmeier, who's 1, who's 2. Drew Allers in that conversation. You got Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway. Where do you put them? So that'll be coming up soon. Again, hope you all enjoyed the content. Please subscribe if you like this video and like college football content. College football is, in 10 days. So I'll get how that's going to work is basically I'm going to pick the top 3 to 5 games of the week, preview them, predict them, and then, on Sundays I'll recap what happened throughout the college football weekend, things like that. And then we'll get into college basketball and get into college basketball. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your day. See ya.